Okay, so welcome. This is good to see. Come on in. We got a seat here and another seat up here. Come up front. Seat right here in front. It's jam packed today. This is standing room only. Yes, it's good to see. Okay, I love that whistle. All right, I'm Stephen Burns. Welcome to AI functionality in Blender, AI workflow in Blender. Now, let me see some hands. How many people have been playing around with AI to some extent, and what AI are you using? A bunch. Okay, almost that's most of the room. What are you using? Mid-Journey. Okay. Anybody else? Th- Great. There's a seat right there in the middle, in front of you. Chat GPT. Okay, I heard that. Anybody else? No, someone said Stable Diffusion earlier, right? Okay, that's what we're going to be playing around with in Blender. So Stable Diffusion is open source. So I think you're going to find this very, very interesting. Let me kind of share with you. Yeah, come on in. I think there's some seats back there if you can find some. I think. I could be wrong. Otherwise, what was that? Well, no, I thought it was back there. Actually, just come up here and sit on the floor in the middle of the room. Just sit on the floor. I'm serious. Come on in. Well, we can sit back there then. Hey, come on in. A bunch of people coming in back there. So, okay, let's get started. Let's have some fun. This is my website, Chromelution.com. Um, yes, go. I'm passing around a sign-up sheet. I'm recording this presentation, so everybody on the list is going to get access to the recording. I will be doing today's as well as tomorrow. I think tomorrow is around 11:30 or something like that. My second presentation, and that's where we're going to be getting into designing things inside of Blender 3D. Um, let's see. For the new people that came in here, what 3D programs are you playing with? If you are Blender, okay, and you? Unreal Engine and Blender, great. That's going to be my presentation at Comic Con this year. I got accepted for two presentations at Comic Con, so looking forward. Somebody else might want to share? Yeah, Light. Who said Lightwave? Dude, that's the program I was raised on and became professional on. Was Lightwave? Oh no, you will learn Blender. Resistance is futile. Okay, so all right. I'm just going to share this very quickly. Who I am, what I do. I'm an artist. I'm an author. I've written about 8 books. The books were in Photoshop, but these books I designed so that I was using a combination of Lightwave and Photoshop. And all these books, they're internationally published. 3D, the Trickery and Effects series books are here. The Blender Imposer book. So I was utilizing 3D before 3D was even functional inside of Photoshop. In fact, one of the last books I had to do with the Photoshop 3D, which of course Adobe has recently taken out, or saying or threatening that they're taking out. Lightwave was a program that was industry standard before Maya. Maya took over, and now it looks like Blender is going to be taken over. The industry is changing. When Maya first came out before 1.0 version, it was 20 grand to purchase the software, plus an additional 2 grand a year for support. So a lot of that's going to be going away. Okay, and I'm going to also share with you my Behance site just very quickly. Um, and Behance, you can kind of check out. Let's see. Let me go to my work here. If I can, oh, that's kind of weird. Behance has changed the site. All right, I'm not going to worry about looking for stuff on Behance. I'll come back to it. You'll also find me, let me kind of come over here, over at Studio Arts. I'm an instructor at Studio Arts. I'm the official Blender instructor there. So if we go to the classes, I teach all 4 of these classes here, the Blender 101. I also teach the 275 grease pencil in Blender. Very interesting. A lot of storyboard artists love grease pencil. I also teach the this is the Blender 350. So this is the this is the rigging, but I also did one on AI in Blender. Um, all right, studioarts.com, but I wanted to share that. So let's go on and kind of get involved in this whole concept of AI and Blender. So Blender's got some very interesting AI plugins I think you're going to find pretty interesting. And we're going to just kind of play today. We're going to go here and see exactly what it does. So I'm going to share one possible workflow with you, which means that we can utilize ChatGPT, or we cannot utilize ChatGPT. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. Let's go to ChatGPT. All right, so I've got that open there. I want that to be available. I'm going to go back into Blender. Here. Okay. In Blender, there is a plugin that I utilize, and it's free. Okay. Let me go to my preferences, and I'm going to go search for the AI. Come on. All right. This got there right there. Render. AI Render Stable Diffusion is what it's called. Okay. Now, you can get this plugin. Let me kind of come on up here on Gumroad. Gumroad is kind of like one of the official Blender plugin sites. Okay. And let me go grab that real quick. I'm going to go hit the AI Stable Diffusion. Come on in, grab Cheers. Oh, good. You found Cheers. You stole them. That's fine too. Work the system. Here we go. All right, so this is actually Blender Market. It is free, right there. AI Render Stable Diffusion, and what it does is it actually connects to Stable Diffusion to create your visions. So let's talk about what AI is and how it should be looked at. AI, I think they're overblowing AI. I think they have this whole thing of they're going to steal everybody's jobs and everybody's freaking out. It's just another form of a calculator, a fancy calculator. It's there to help you get ideas. If you're going to survive in the industry, you must know your stuff. You must know how to create, how to model, how to animate. You have to have those skill sets intact. You should only be using AI as a form of inspiration, and that's what we're going to do today. Okay. All right. So AI Render Stable Diffusion. I don't think there's an official website for it. Just go over here. Just do a Google search. Blender Market is on there. It's free. Download it. And most of the plugins that you're going to find for Blender are very inexpensive, but at the same time, they're very, very good. So the industry has changed. So now, I have installed it already. It's here. Whenever we install a plugin, we have to make sure that box is checked. You see other plugins here that are not checked. That means they're not active. They're there. They're just not active. By having them unchecked, it means that now it reserves more memory for you to work with what you need to work with. All right, so AI Stable Diffusion is at the very top. Okay, it is checked. If we drop it down, something you need to pay attention to. That is this API key. And basically you go in, you sign up for a free account, you get an API key, and then you get 100 credits as they give it to you. That's about equivalent to 500 images just for you to play around with. Now, I've only done about 50 images so far, so I've got plenty. To get your API key, as I mentioned, they have a little button there. Click it. It'll take you to the website, follow instructions, sign up, copy the key, and put the key right in here. And that key is to only remain secret. Only you know about it. All right. Done. That's already done. Now we're going to go play. So let's see. What can we do? Let's do this. What this does, and this is really quite fascinating, is you throw a bunch of stuff in there, right? And then you tell Blender to say, look at that stuff and make something like this. And that this is your prompt, right? So when we install that plugin shows up in Blender under the render panel right there. So in Blender, we've got these two vertical panels right next to each other. Those are your properties panels. Great, you can go and thank you. Close the door. That'd be great. Fantastic. Those are your properties panels. One of the properties in Blender is your features for render. Okay. Now what I'm going to do. So I'm not saying a word. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is Blender has two types of rendering. It's more than two types of rendering engines. The rendering engines in Blender are great. Now, if you work with other programs, you have rendering engines like Keyshot, right? Or Octane. Blender's rendering engines are great. They're fantastic. You don't need to buy another rendering engine. So the two you're going to be concerned with is Eevee and Cycles. We're going to stick to Cycles. Cycles is your true ray tracer. That renders every little detail where Eevee doesn't. Eevee is something that's closer to what you get in Unreal Engine. Does that make sense? All right, so we're going to go and say, okay, let's stick to Cycles. And right down here at the bottom of your list, I'm going to go down to the bottom, and you have your AI render options right there. And it's asking me, do I want to enable AI render right now? We say, yeah, we do. We're going to click it. And we're going to scroll. Now, Stable Diffusion limits you to the size of your render. I think everybody's aware of that. It's showing it what size it's going to render here, a 1024 by 1024, and that's fine for this presentation. So if we go down here, this is where your prompt goes. The next window down here is the negative prompt, things that you don't want to see in your AI render. Okay, I'm going to leave it there by default. It's there by default. Ugly bad art. Okay, we'll just leave it there. We don't want no ugly bad art. Okay. Now this is cool, right? This is cool, right? Here are your style presets. So if I click on this, there they are. Got a bunch of preset styles. And I can scroll down and go or up. It's gonna show me more styles, right? So all right, I'm gonna keep that in mind. All right. This is kind of interesting. I'm gonna build something real fast. But anyways, I'm gonna come back to that. And we got advanced options. We'll take a quick look at that. All right. We got the model styles here, or the algorithms, the sampler. You got all these different modeling algorithms, right? That's something you just need to experiment with. Okay. Everything else I'm going to leave default. Okay. Now let's go do something. Let's go make something in Blender. You don't have to build complicated stuff. Just stupid, simple shapes, right? Watch. So Shift A is how you bring in all your models in Blender. Mesh is where all your primitives live. And if you look at this, mesh, there's your cube, and there's a UV sphere. We want a cylinder right there, okay? All right, it's getting closer to the cylinder. I want to make it a cup, right? So just tab object mode is for your animation and effects. Edit mode is to actually build stuff. So go into edit mode, select that front face. I for inset it in just a little bit. Okay, go to X-ray mode so I can see what I'm going to do next. E for extrude it down. I've got a cup. It doesn't look much like a cup. It is not a fancy cup, but we don't give a damn because AI is going to do the work for us. The purpose of AI is to inspire you to create into a different direction. That's all we're going to use it for. Okay, now let's put in another cylinder, right? I'm going to go back to object mode, and right over here, just take note that all these objects are going to be on a separate 3D layer. So Shift A, go over here, mesh. Let's go ahead and put another cylinder in here. Okay, let's bring that cylinder up like this. Let's reduce it down, and this is going to be a stem. Okay, that's going to be a stem. And I'm going to go also to edit mode on this one. I'm going to grab the bottom, okay? And I'm going to pull it back X-ray mode using Alt-Z as X-ray mode and pull it down, and that's going to be a stem, okay? If I grab the top, pull that up a little more like that, okay, that's going to be a stem. We can say a stem of a plant or something. All right, we need something that represents the bulb of the plant, okay? So go back to object mode. Why? Because I'm going to add another object in here. Shift A, mesh, go add a UV sphere. That's what we want. We're going to put that right up here just like this. S key to scale it down, and then push it down to connect with the stem. There it is. That looks good. All right, so this is going to represent my flower. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to duplicate it. Shift D, bring it over to the side, rotate it a little bit like that, and maybe what we'll do is we'll push it over to the side a little bit like that. And I think I'm going to also come over here and push it, make sure it's inside the cup. So we got two flowers inside the cup. There we go. Stupid primitive shapes. Okay. Let's go to camera mode. All right, so I want the camera to be looking at this angle. So I'm going to hit the N key for numerics, which makes these panels come back and go away. I want more real estate. So here, I want to be viewing through the camera. Control Alt 0. Now that puts the camera exactly how we want to position it. Pull it on back. Pull it right about there. Let's do one. Let's put a table on here. Shift A real quick. Mesh. We're going to make a makeshift table. Mesh plane. There's my plane. S key. Bring out the plane like that. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to just grab all these objects except for the plane, so I can just push it up on top of the table. Okay, there we go. Now we're cooking. Okay, there's our plant holding cup, so to speak. All right, so that's basic shapes. All right, now we're gonna do more of these. I'm gonna do one. We will build a city, and we'll build an underwater submarine in an underwater environment, and we're gonna let the AI genius do it for us. It's there to provide you ideas. And once you get those ideas, now you take your skills and you go build them. That's the workflow you should be using. So here we go. Come on down here. I already told it to use the plugin. We're going to come right up here to the prompt. And what should we say? We want flowers inside a cup. How should I phrase it? Give me some ideas.
What's wrong with how you just said it?
Yeah.
Flowers in a cup. Beautiful flowers in a cup.
Fine.
Daisies.
Since you're going to put it that way, be that way about it. Okay. Okay. Beautiful flowers. All right, that's good. In a round cup, sitting on a table. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to render it. The render shortcut in Blender is F12. Sit back and relax. Let's see what happens. Look at the numbers up there going. It's rendering and it's rendering and rendering. And let it keep going because it's not done yet. It's not done yet. All right, maybe it is done yet. Let's find out what's going on. Let's find out.
Lollipop.
All right, you see that? Please set the width and height for valid values. This is kind of one of the gotchas in the program. Those valid values, see that little error message right there? So now we need to go find out, let's see, right there, it wants a square. Click it. Come here. Let's change the style. wild rainbow. Okay, now let's give it a try. See, now it's honoring that 12 by 12. Let's see what it does. Sit back and relax. I've been playing around with this in my hotel room. It's been working perfectly, so it's better work. This
I
is,
don't think we'll all fit in your hotel room.
ooh. See? See? Very nice. So it's giving me ideas. All right. Fine. Let's just minimize this temporarily. Okay, let's see. Let's try a different one. Let's do bone carving
So does the rendering take place on this PC or does it do it on a
on my PC. Blender is doing the rendering. So F12,
But it's not actually touching the underlying model. It's just creating a 3D image from the model and as input with the comment you gave.
can someone, so the question is it's not really actually touching the model. It's using the input that I'm putting in there. Can someone answer the question? Yes.
So it uses the shapes you've defined in the model as kind of an outline for what
That's
so
correct.
It's kind of like the hint about where things should
That's
general layout.
correct.
Right.
It's giving it a hint, and then it's doing its own thing. And look at that.
It's kind of like a skeleton.
It's like a skeleton. It's using primitive objects like a skeleton. So,
We still have to go back and then, to your point, so if you wanted to make that image, you'd have to go back to your mesh
yes,
and then detail your mesh to match the.
that's right. So if I want to create this image, he's saying that we see here, right? Now that's where your Blender skill sets come in. You got to know your shit, right? Now you got to come in and make that, right?
So none of the AI tools will actually help you with the underlying Blender model.
Very good. That's a good observation. None of the AI tools are going to help you with creating the final vision. It's just there to give you ideas. Yes.
We're getting there, but it's gonna take a couple years before it's really, really good. Right now, you can only get like really rough, like 3D models out of it.
But here's the problem. You're right. It's getting there. They're perfecting it, but still, it's not human.
Right.
It's a machine.
Yeah.
As a human, your creativity can mix and mesh things in directions that a machine can never ever take you. So it's still just all you're doing is still making it just a better calculator, right? So we shouldn't be afraid of it. Yes.
Two questions.
Yes.
Is one, since AI's, if you were to hit re-render on that,
All right. So the question is, if I hit re-render, let's do it. Let's actually do it.
how similar or dissimilar?
All right. Let's find it. Let's go hit render again.
You like the cup, but not the flowers. Can you say,
So the question is, if I like the cup, but I didn't like the flower, you want to change the flowers? That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not quite sure. I have to play with it more. But let's answer his question first and re-render it. So F12, want to keep, it gives you the initial render of your first objects. It's like we talked about the skeleton, right?
The actual
That's the actual
Blender
first
render.
render. That's the first Blender render.
So Steven, so
Yes.
it's just an image, right? You can't just say save as an STL.
Ooh, look at that.
By only re-rendering it, right?
Only re-render it. Didn't change the prompts. Want to do it again? All right, let's do it again. Okay. F. Remember, it's tacking into stable diffusion. So you can render as many times as you want, and you should get something different every single time.
when you bring it into Blender, can you just like cut off the flowers, delete the flowers, and then re-render and try to find new flowers?
Let's go find out. Let's find out. So the question is, can you delete stuff in Blender and re-render it and get something different? Essentially, yeah, we're gonna do it right now. All right, so let's go. Let's take these flowers. Let's say, you know what? 2 flowers are boring. Let's do another. Let's do another set. So that's Shift D. Put that over here. rotate it a little bit, and I'm going to take this one and I'm going to bring it into the cup like that. And then maybe I'll take this one here, okay, duplicate that one, but I'm going to make this one small, tiny like that, and I'm going to put it down right over here, something like that. And I think I'll probably rotate it. Let's kind of take it that way. Yeah, I like that. Something like there. Stick it inside the cup.
Are these all individual objects then?
Well, the question is, are these all individual objects? And here they are, right there. Those are your 3D layers with individual
And
objects.
so when you bring in the rendering, each of those flowers would be its own image, so you could just delete them?
You could, right? You could, but remember, the purpose of this is not to rely on AI to do the work for you. It's just there to give you inspiration. So you need to okay, let me put it this way. When you work as an abstract painter, you don't have a final concept in mind. You allowing the flow of the paints, the rhythm of the lines, to suggest to you where to go. That's the thought process you should be in. Does that make sense? So let go. Stop trying to control it. Just let it tell you what it could be.
But Steve,
Yes.
instead of saying flowers, can you say a specific type of flower and specify it a little bit more? Let's say roses.
All right, let's do it. We'll do it right now. So I want beautiful roses. Okay. So beautiful roses. Roses are boring, actually, but sure. Everybody wants roses. Snapdragons? Okay, beautiful.
Also, the
If it actually gives me a
prompt
fire-breathing dragon, I will be impressed.
Also under the negative prompt,
Yes,
is ugly subjective?
I guess.
Bad subjective.
Yeah,
Art subjective.
yeah, that art can be subjective.
Depend on how they trained the model. Is there a given element to select the
Right. Well, let's limit it for right now. Let's go render the thing so we can have some fun. All right. So I'm gonna come back in here. I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna come in closer. I'm gonna bring this view of the camera back a little bit. Let's go to the view of the camera and bring it back so you can see the entire outline like that. That's better. So I will lock the camera down so we can actually move through the camera. Now we will look at up this time. We go up, look up at the flowers. Okay. Now, I know what we'll do. Here's what we'll do. We're going to go to the light source. Where's my light? Do I have a light? I don't have a light in here. Interesting. Let's put a light in here. So Shift A, go get a light and a sunlight. Okay. Let me go to my perspective mode. Bring the sunlight out here. Point it to my objects. I'm going to bring it on over like so. Okay. Maybe I'll bring it out slightly in front just a little bit and then and angle it back. I'm going to bring it out a little front a little bit more. And angle it back at my object. I think that'll do just fine. Let's bring it back to here. There's a better way to do this, but I'm going to just kind of work with this for now. All right, now I'm going to go to render mode. So Z key on the keyboard, go to render, so you can see what that light is actually doing. Okay, that's my light. Light select, go to the light and just kind of look at the intensity. It's only 1. Let me go to about 2. Okay, that works good. All right, now this is what's interesting. This is why I'm doing this. I'm going to go back to camera mode. It will react to your lighting. It'll recreate it based on the direction of your light source. So now let's go and render with this new prompt. We said snapdragons, right? Let's see what it does. Wait till we get to the part where we do the submarine and underwater. And what's happening here is taking its own sweet little. Oh no, it's still rendering. It's still rendering. So sometimes you have to be a little patient.
I think it might.
Did I crash?
That's cool.
I think you misspelled dragons.
Snapdragons.
We went to a dark place.
Yeah, well, but you know why I went to a dark place? Let's look at the style that we chose, right? Remember, we go to our render, and the style was bone.
Oh,
All right. So let's do this. Let's go to let's do this one. The Leonid Afremov. Okay. All right. Let's do it again. Same.
All it is it's just generating image, right? It's not generating.
That's right. It's creating an image. Now, I know where you're going. You're thinking, well, can it do actual geometry? They're working on it. There's a plugin out for it, but it doesn't work in this brand new 4.1. I played with it 2 days ago, and it's like, doesn't work. Ooh, isn't that interesting? That's different. Immediately, I'm thinking boring.
Okay.
Totally boring. So fine. This is boring. That's fine. That's good. That's cool. We'll try this one over here, and we'll do it again. So function F, and then render an F12. We'll see what this is going to give us now. Then we'll stop playing around with this setup. We'll go to another setup because I get bored very easily. Yeah, it's kind of like, let's do something fun.
So I'm curious, because right now the geometry is kind of helping the prompts.
That's correct.
You know, so I'm kind of curious, what happens if, say, like you have geometry that is like working against the prompt? So let's say, for example,
Okay.
flowers, fire hydrants, or airplanes, or something like that.
All right. So the question is, we've been using prompts that kind of help. They kind of go with the geometry we create. But what if we do a prompt that kind of is kind of opposite or antithetical to the setup that we have?
Yeah.
All right, let's go do it. Let's go do it. Oh, and something I should bring to your attention too. Right down here, let me go see if I can find it. We have, I think it's under the advanced section. Let me just take a quick look, 'cause I often forget where things are in here.
My car gets confused between starters. Go and stop.
So are these images just two-dimensional?
Yes.
They're not.
They're two-dimensional.
can't-
They're not 3D.
Okay.
Right. They're giving you a final masterpiece artwork. Is what they're doing. Yes.
How do you apply that to 3D printing?
What was that?
How do you apply that to 3D printing?
You got to build the model first.
So you
See,
can
remember-
build it out in a three-dimensional.
That's right. If you want to talk about 3D printing, come to my class tomorrow. Today is about being inspired to create something different in 3D.
So this is like having a bunch of clip art stuff that you.
Thank you. Exactly. Except a programmer's doing it for you. You don't have to go do it. You've just saved time. And now the companies can hire less artists, and they can just hire you. That's the fear.
But I
That's
wonder
the
if
fear.
when it starts to get geometry that can make it three-dimensional, is that going to?
Well, I'm sure that'll improve.
And then someone can just say, "Oh, that's good enough. Let the computer do it."
That's what happened with photography. Right? That's the nature of technology. Yeah.
Maybe getting ahead of things a little bit, but if you do a simple animation, like just a camera orbit around that.
We're not going to do that today. But yes, you can. The question is, can this be done can you take an animation, like a 30 frame or like a 30-second animation, and then use this technique? Yes, you can.
Does it maintain like the object that it first renders? Because like when you re-rendered, we've gotten something different each time. And I was wondering, if we got those skulls that were on the posts,
Right.
As it orbits around, will they still be all the posts, or will it come up with something?
So the question is, as for example, if we say we put these posts here, and it moves on, maintain the integrity of those skulls in that post? And my answer to you is, I have no idea. Go try it. Yeah.
Probably not with Stable Diffusion. There's another model that's in development that's been making
Okay.
a lot of press headlines. that I don't think it has a Blender integration yet, but there's one where you can give it a prompt and it will it'll maintain like
Well,
composition
look
of the
here.
scene.
Look here. Prompts. We can play with that. That's probably what you're going to be using a lot to accomplish what you're trying, your goal. In other words, once you create something, stick to that. And you can tell it, give it a number. That was the other thing I wanted to share with you. And you got these other let me see if I can find it real quick. That's the animation and go up, upscale operation. I want operation. And all right, okay. I'll come back. I'll look for what other thing I want to show you. But let's go create something different. We are going to this plane. Let's just grab these things here. Okay. And I'm gonna delete them. Get rid of them. I'm gonna take that plane fast. Go into tab mode. Right click, subdivide it. Subdivided by 100. We're going to get out of here. We're going to add a modifier to it. So we make this like bumpy landscape. Okay, so I'm going to add a quick little modifier. Come right over here to this little blue gear. And the modifier that I'm going to add on there is it's going to be a deforming modifier, which is going to be called displace. And we're going to use a procedural to displace the geometry on this mesh. We'll go ahead and grab some texture. The button. Come over here, grab clouds. There it is. We've just displaced our geometry. I can control, utilizing that modifier, how to displace something like that. There we go. We got a little underwater landscape concept. Now, let's bring in a primitive. Let's bring in a sphere this time. Let's let the sphere hover. No, I don't want to. I want a cylinder. Let's go to a cylinder. You'll see why in just a moment. It's easier to model. There's my cylinder. I might render here and go to solid mode so we can work real fast. There we go. Let's bring this up. This is going to be my kind of like a submarine or something like that. I'm going to rotate this on the x-axis. R for rotate. Hit the X for the axis to restrict it to 90 degrees. Rotate there. Enter. Done. You'll learn all this in my Blender, my 5-week Blender class coming up July 7th. All right, tab key, edit mode. Let's go ahead and build something stupid. Right? Let's pull this on out like this. Let's grab both sides, the front face and the back face. Let's hit the I key for inset to bring that in. I'll inset it about that much. Let's hit the Alt-E for extruding along those faces like so. Okay. Let's hit the S key. I don't want to do it that way. I'm gonna do it this way instead. I want to hit the I key, extrude that in like so. That's what I want. Now, going to my X-ray mode, you can see I'm doing it equally to both sides. So what I'm going to do is go to my scale. And I'm going to make sure that the centering algorithm is going to be medium point. Now, what I can do is kind of push these out like that. Okay. And maybe I will go to my individual origins, which allows me to resize them based on their own origin like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to do one last thing. Add a slice right down the middle. Control R, slice it, take that slice, scale, do something like this. Now let's round this off here. Control B for bevel, and then use the scroll wheel to add some shape to that. Okay, so that's a stupid little shape there. Okay, let's see what it does. All right, let's go and I'm going to target my ground, make it larger. Okay. I'm going to view my sub, so to speak, from this angle. And Control Alt 0 brings in my camera. All right, there we go. So it's getting close like this. submarine with undersea landscape. All right, so we're going to go back over to our render options, go back down at the bottom, which is where my plugin options are. That's my render, AI render right there, little menu. Come on down here and tell you what, let's go and do something different, okay? Because if you're going to use AI, you got to start thinking smarter. Why should you have to think the prompts up? Why could not ChatGPT do it for you? Okay, so we go to ChatGPT, and I think I had it up here somewhere. There it is. And we're going to put in here, give me a prompt for submarine hovering above ocean floor. Okay, so one person just made a comment. So I heard it. I have good ears. It said it's probably going to give me exactly this. Well, let's find out if it does, because that's what your job is to amidst the murky depths, a submarine hovers eerily over the ocean floor, its lights casting an otherworldly glow on the mysterious landscape below. As the crew peers through the windows, they spot something unexpected lurking in the shadows. I love this. I love it. So let's grab it. Control C. What was that? And let's go over here to what? My prompt. Hit the A. I'm going to delete all those, and I will Control V and put that in. And now we are going to hit F12. You can sit back and relax. It's rendering. You can see it up there. It's not quite there. It's interesting. Huh. Let's go to good idea. Someone just said do a different style. Try which one? The bones? Want to try the bones? Okay, we'll do the bones. Just because you asked. Okay, let's go. Where are the bones? Oh, hey, steampunk. Steampunk. Let's do that one. All right, let's go to. And this plugin is free.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Styles.
On styles.
Can you just set it up to allow the style to come from the prompt?
I think you can. I just haven't learned it yet.
Can you create your own styles?
Yes. That's interesting. It's not what we're looking for. No, but let's try a different style. Oops, wrong one. Get Blender back. Get Blender back. Okay. Is that Blender? That's Blender. Okay. Let's try something different. Let's do the bone like you said, suggested. We love the. Let's see what happens.
Can you check two styles at the same time?
I don't think you can. I'll tell you what. Well, I don't think you can. Look at that one. That's interesting. That could be a nice inspiration for some sci-fi piece.
That was that same bone prompt.
Yeah, that's the bone prompt, right? So let's do this. Okay. Well, check this out. Watch. Let's do this. Let's use this one again. But let's do this. Let's go to our background, which is kind of a gray right now, and let's light the background with a slight blue. So you can see the background kind of going bluish there. If I go up like this.
Given it too many words, can that just confuse it too much?
I don't think so. I mean, it's just doing what you tell it to do. Oh, I know what we'll do. Let's do this. Let's do this. We got a bluish background. We got the light coming from the top, right? Or here we go. The light's down at the bottom. That's silly. That should go up here. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell this light to point at the submarine all the time. So if I select that object, right, I'm going to, yeah, it's called cylinder right now. We'll keep it cylinder. I'm going to grab the light source. I'm going to go to a constraint. That's the third icon up right above the light symbol. And that constraint, I'm going to tell it to track to and always track to the object, which is going to be my cylinder. So there, no matter what I do, it always points. Makes my life a lot easier. Now let's put a light up here. Let's take that light source, and I'm going to go to the render mode option. There we go. See? There, now we can see this here. But here, let's light that with red. Let's duplicate that light, Shift D, bring it over to here, from the bottom, so to speak, and change that to green. See? Red on one side, green on the other. Let's go to the camera view. Let's make this. So using the color now as part of the prompt. It adds it to the prompt that we have. So it's sampling. It's about almost halfway there. Sit back and relax and be patient. It's kind of wild, huh?
It's the Beatles cover.
It's like, exactly. Like a Beatles cover. That's great. Okay, let's do something else. How much time do we have? What time do we have on the, what time? We have 12 minutes left? All right, cool. That's plenty of time. All right, let's do something different. Let's out of here. I'll keep everything there. Let's get it and go to my solid mode so we can see I can work faster. And let's bring a skyscraper scene back there. So I think I can get away with it by adding in a plane. So Shift A, I'm going to add in the plane real quick. Okay. I'm going to bring the plane up higher just so I can see what I'm doing. Bring it like this. Okay. Just making it bigger. Now, go inside to edit mode. Right click, subdivide by 10. That's all I need to do. Okay, let's go paint some faces. Hit the C key on the keyboard, which gives me my paintbrush, and I can. Oops, I want to go to the get out of this. I want to go to the face editing mode. So 3 key on the keyboard. Now I'm gonna go to back to my C key, and I'm gonna paint. Here, here, here. We will do something like hold the Alt key down, that takes it away. And let's go over and put one here. Okay. E-extrude, there. Deselect some of these. Grab this one, and I think I'll grab these 3 here as well. Okay. Make that a little bigger building there. Okay. Okay, that works. There, I'll put one more over here real fast. E key. We'll make this one something like this. Bevel, Control B. All right, just something a little different. I think last thing I'll do is grab just one of those, E like that, one of those, E like this, and one of these. I want that one back there. And go a little taller. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's get in a little closer. Hit the N key. I'm on some real estate over here. Get rid of this little properties box down there. Let's play with this one. All right, get out of here. Go to object mode. Put this down. There we go. Do something like this. And let's go get that little blimpy thing. Let hover up here or something. Let's do something with it. Getting close. Control Alt 0, camera view. We'll pull it back. All right. Anybody want to give me some prompts?
How about submarine going through Atlantis?
Okay, submarine going through Atlantis. So, all right, go back to my render. Somebody challenging his prompt. So,
Yeah, wrong box.
oh,
Negative.
all right, we won't do any negatives now. So I'll go to here. Submarine gliding through Atlantis. Is that AS? IS. Okay. I'm an artist. I'm not an English teacher. I suck at English.
If you name the object, will the AI take that into account? So like instead of cylinder, you actually name it submarine, so it knows that's supposed to be.
So the question is, if I rename the objects to something recognizable, will the AI engine recognize that as well? The answer is, I don't know.
It probably won't.
Does the AI engine even care? Because it's just taking
That will be my instinct, is that it wouldn't really care.
Yeah, just like if you took those buildings and said that those buildings were all submarines stuck in the mud,
Right.
would it say, okay, well that's what I'm going to use as my reference?
It depends on the intensity of that you give it, the number that you give it to honor that prompt. So I would assume. So how about this one here? What about this Dan Mumford? Let's try that one. All right, let's do a render. There's the initial. The lighting's coming a little bit from below. You got blue lighting all through it. Let's see what we get. You see the numbers are cranking out up here. It's going to 4096. No, maybe I can change that a little bit. Let's see what it does. And, ooh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah, it does have that Nostromo look from Alien, doesn't it? Okay.
Buildings turned into sky.
The buildings turned into submarines. Let's see something else. In fact, let's actually go play. Let's come down here and go play with that prompt strength.
It's too bad you couldn't have gone with underwater volcanoes.
We can. So someone suggested put in through Atlantis, over underwater volcanoes. See, whatever you think up, we can do. In fact, let's keep this same. Should we change the style?
I'm curious what the cartoon style looks like.
All right, so this one right here. Let's do the cartoon style. That's a suggestion. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Let's go play. All right, you see the numbers up here? They're cranking out. It's giving you a progress report. All right, let's see what it does. Let's see what it does. Oh, it's still rendering. Oops, let's go back and get it. There it is. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't expect that, huh?
I don't see the volcano.
Yeah, I don't either. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So
two rockets launching in snow.
Yeah, how about this one here? Let's try.
Is there a way to have it be? It seems like it's not being creative with color. It
Well,
seems like everything is staying in the same palette because of the model.
Because of the model.
Is there a way for it to?
Because okay, I tell you what, let me answer your question this way. Because I did a bunch of renders in the hotel room. Let me show you what I rendered. Okay, let me bring this up real fast. Let me go get Bridge real fast. Adobe Bridge is our friend. Bring that on up. Okay, and come on, get up here, get up here. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right. Wonderfest right down here. AI here. AI renders. That's one of them. Right. That's one that I render. Let me show you some of the others. Here are the ones with the flowers. I'll kind of scroll through them.
It just seems like we've lost the color palette, the variety of colors in the renders.
And it may have something to do with my prompts. With our
And
prompts.
there may be a box somewhere that needs to be checked.
Yes.
Could it be because of the fact you said a background color?
Yeah, this one was a Salvador Dali one that they had in there. All right, so there's some color, and there's that one there. Yeah, and that was using the flowers with the stems. Right, that was using the flowers with the stems. Isn't that interesting? And I did it again. Now this is using the submarine concept. All right. Now this, I was using the steampunk ones on these two. That was a steampunk. That was a steampunk. That was another steampunk. Because we're going back again. So yeah, those were some examples of that I saved up. But yeah, it's really interesting what you can get. So the idea is just like if I saw this one here and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool for a cartoony sub, you can now go build that in Blender. And it's yours because it never existed before. I think we're out of time. How do you guys feel?
Interesting.
Isn't this interesting?
Yeah.
And it's going to get better and faster.
Well, we see you next year. That's when it starts being able to make this, huh?
That's right. So, all right. On July 7th, again, it's a Sunday, I'm going to start a 5-week workshop in Blender. It's going to be specific to Blender and 3D printing. And you need a 5-week workshop because that's really how you're going to learn this stuff. You're not going to get this in a one-day class. One-day class whets the appetite. So I do it on Sundays, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific time. For 5 weeks, every class is recorded. You get the recording, and I only accept 8. So there's a sign-up sheet somewhere. My promo manager over here has a sign-up sheet. And hold it up. So if anybody hasn't signed up, name, email address, and cell phone number. I'll send you the details after the conference.
So will tomorrow's class that you're going to do kind of be an example of what that would be?
Tomorrow's class, that's right. Tomorrow's class, we're going to be getting into modeling in Blender. So it's a fun one for you to attend. Blender is not popular because it's free. It's popular because it's literally revolutionized the 3D industry. It's taken all the best features from Maya and all these other programs out there, and from the ground up coded it so that it just works flawless. And it's free. Only thing you're paying for is me to teach the class.
How much is that?
You guys get the 20% off. So $425 is the normal price, but with the 20% off, you'll get that in the email. It's basically Wonderfest 2024 is the discount code. It's like $360 something for the 5 weeks with the discount. Well worth it. Thank you for coming. It's an honor to be here. Yeah. So we've got another presenter coming up after me. He's going to be talking about 3D printing. Is David? Is he here? He's not here. He'll be here.